Alright guys, the review code for Travis Strikes Again just came in. I'm ready to check it out. It's going to be awesome jumping back into No More Heroes, and hopefully it turns out to be good. Because according to Suda, No More Heroes 3 might be dependent on this. So let's see what he did with it on the line.
Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes is the latest in the No More Heroes universe that is developed and published by Grasshopper, with Nintendo handling the retail publishing this time. If you're unfamiliar with the No More Heroes series, it's a story that follows Travis Touchdown as he attempts to take down assassins. At least, that was the idea in previous games.
So the story for this one starts off exactly where we saw it at the end of that Indies presentation, with Badman tracking down Travis after the murder of Badgirl. Badman wants to obviously get revenge on Travis. So after hunting him down, they then, after fighting, get sucked into a video game. Again, just like we saw in that Indies presentation, it starts up from there. Now you might be wondering, what are they exactly trying to accomplish here? Well, after getting sucked into the Death Drive MK2, the idea is to go around and find 6 death balls. I know. And then after collecting all 6 death balls, the person who has collected them then will have one wish granted. I know. So they decide to collect all of the death balls so that they can then wish Badgirl back to life. I know!
Yes, as you would expect, the story is for the most part nonsensical. However, this is what makes No More Heroes fun. It doesn't take itself seriously, and it leans into tongue-in-cheek jokes constantly. Travis Strikes Again seems to double down on this idea and won't stop with the fourth wall breaking. It actually becomes kind of tiring at points, almost like they're trying a bit too hard with some of the humor. Now, don't get me wrong, I get the humor in previous entries, but this one is a bit too in your face. To get started, let's go over some of the gameplay here. When you enter a game, you can play as either Travis or Badman. If you have a friend, you can actually do co-op and play as both, which is a nice touch since the game can be played with a single Joy-Con. During battle, you have options when using your beam saber with light and heavy attacks. Light attacks can be quick and get several hits in, while heavy attacks hit harder, but has a larger window of recovery. You also have the ability to dodge, and unfortunately, you cannot cancel an attack into a dodge roll. This could have been a design decision made to make you pay for getting too aggressive, but it just ends up making the game feel like it can't keep up with you in the heat of battle. Several times I saw Travis get hit over and over because an enemy no-sold an attack of mine, while I could not roll out of the way because I had to wait for my attack to finish. It's something that will frustrate you as you fight against larger and larger mobs of enemies, and only makes the combat feel clunky.
Now, one of the staples in No More Heroes is the way that you recharge the blade that you essentially bought on an auction site like eBay. Yeah, that's where he got his saber from. He bought it online. Anyway, it's a pretty funny way for him to recharge his blade, and if you're familiar with No More Heroes, it's become kind of a staple to the series. Well, in this one, it has probably one of the clunkiest ways to recharge your blade that I've ever seen. I mean, think about the Pro Controller. Take a look at it. How do you think you should recharge your blade, especially when things like ZL and ZR are completely free from use in this game? You figure, oh, maybe you hold one of those down and then tap a button or something. No, that's completely wrong. The way you do it, and I'm not even kidding, is you click in the left stick and then move the right stick around. It works like the 3rd time every time. Seriously, every time I would try to do it, it wouldn't work the first time, would sometimes work the 2nd time, and then finally on the 3rd try, I was recharging my blade while simultaneously getting hit by the enemy. It's not a great way to do it, and with ZL and ZR completely free from use, I don't know why they went this way. This is something that should be patched out immediately. It's one of the worst controls I've ever seen in a game, especially one like this where it is a hack and slash, faster paced game. You really have to stop and think and keep trying to recharge your blade, which you kind of need in the game to, fight against all the enemies.
You also have access to several skills you could find throughout the world or after defeating bosses. Some of these skills are really fun to use, like having the ability to shoot lightning or even grabbing and throwing enemies into each other. You are allowed to have up to 4 skills equipped to either character at a time, and designing a loadout can give you different experiences in battle. For example, you could go defensive and equip skills that create barriers and allow you to heal, or you can go full offense and shoot lasers from the sky. I think I would have liked to have seen leveling or even progression for these skills. As it stands, the skills you find don't have any leveling system or way to get stronger outside of your character level. That's right, there is a minor RPG system in this game that is tied to your character and how powerful they are. As you progress through the game and defeat enemies, you are awarded experience points that you can invest into your character. From here, it's up to you to level up and get more health and more attack power, or you can attempt to beat the entire game at level 1. Now, as you find your way into different game worlds, it becomes pretty clear that they had to stretch the budget really thin in this game. One aspect that was really tiresome were the segments leading up to acquiring a death ball. In these scenes, you literally sit and read green scan line text for upwards of 15 minutes at a time. It becomes really tedious, especially as you realize that there is never any great story being told here, and the outcome is always the same. Travis meets some people and then leaves with a death ball. These segments probably could have been scrapped completely, as each death ball has its own story, and I'm not sure why they decided to hit you with walls of text that badly slow down the pace of the game. It's actually ironic, since right at the start of the game they make fun of other games taking forever to let you get into the action, only to sit you in front of monochrome screens pressing A forever. Each of the 6 death balls attempt to give you a different style to play, but they mostly wind up going back to the hack and slash gameplay. Sometimes they will do some fun things, such as let you drag race in a Tron-inspired setting or wander a maze-filled mansion looking for coffee and donuts. Sadly, weird design decisions will rear their ugly head in some death balls. Take that maze, for example, in that mansion. As you play through this world, you continue to enter rooms to clear them in order to unlock another room somewhere in the mansion. The problem I ran into was, as you unlocked the next room, it was never clear which room you just unlocked. I mean, a simple camera cut to the next room that you just unlocked would have made this section much more streamlined, and I can already tell some gamers are going to be annoyed by this world.
So you've been seeing the gameplay of this throughout, and actually I don't really mind the way the game looks. I know it's stylized, No More Heroes is a stylized series in general, and the way I looked at it, they did at least use Unreal Engine 4 to their advantage, and they did turn it into something that looks different than most other Unreal Engine games, so I can appreciate that. It does look a bit blurry on my monitor, but it's nothing crazy, and since it's zoomed out, it actually hides a lot of the flaws that you see when it then zooms in for any character interactions, for example. They do also put a blue, at least for Travis, a blue outline around him so you can see them easier on the screen, which, trust me, when things get crazy, it gets kind of hard to keep track of everybody, especially if you're doing co-op. So I like the outline around it, and honestly, the visuals really never stood out to me to where I thought they were bad. They were just never hyper impressive or anything.
The inclusion of indie game icons was always the plan from the start, but in what way, we weren't sure. Suda mentioned several times he wanted to include as many indie games as possible in this adventure for Travis, and in order to do this, he made several indie game icons into shirts. Throughout the game, you'll collect money and tokens to use in clothing stores. I was partial to the Golf Story shirt, obviously. However, a metric ton of indie games are available to dress up either Batman or Travis, which is a nice touch. Sure, having worlds set up around different indie games would have been a better idea. However, the time and the money that it would take to make that into a reality seemed to be a bit too much, more than likely. I really wanted to like Travis Strikes Again. Suda has made mention that the future of the series could hinge on the sales for this game, and if you're a No More Heroes fan, you will probably buy this game either way. I actually think you could find some value in this game if you're already invested into the lore and enjoy the Suda51 humor present in other No More Heroes games. Unfortunately for others, this game probably won't be a great experience. The game itself feels repetitive with several repeating enemy types, a clunky feeling combat system, and a nonsensical story that has long drawn out sections that literally feel like a waste of time keep this game from being great. The game also has a rather short runtime of around 6 to 7 hours. depending on your pacing, and might leave some players feeling a bit shortchanged.
Now the question is, should you buy Travis Strikes Again? Yes, you should. I want No More Heroes 3. Okay, no, you know what? Objectively speaking, looking at this game, it's not a great game. It's not even really a good game. It's an average game. We'll go with average. Yeah, we'll go with average. It's a game that I think No More Heroes fans are already sold on because it's in that universe. Sure, it's not No More Heroes 3, but it's a No More Heroes game, and I think fans of the series will find some value in it. But is it worth a pickup if this is your first entry into it? Probably not. I would go back and check out some of the older ones, and who knows, maybe those ones will even be remastered and ported to the Switch. But this could actually turn you off from the entire series because it's not their best outing here. It really isn't. It's average at best. And that's going to do it here for our look at Travis Strikes Again. And now it is time to collect. So guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time. Hey, yeah, I just finished up the review. Nope, I told him it was average. Well, you know, if you don't like that, you shouldn't have put so much green scanline text in the game. How do I sell that in 2019? No, I don't know if Wario64 is a real person. Hey, you know what? Just make No More Heroes 3, okay? All right, thanks. Bye. I'm gonna have to change my number.